Gentlemen, this is Cover the Bases. So your favorite plays in the following categories on tonight's MLB slate. We're on the DraftKings Sportsbook a little later in this segment. But right now, give me your favorite DFS pitcher, Erik.
Yeah, the answer to any and all pitcher questions, I think, until the end of time is going to be Logan Webb. Just absolutely love Logan Webb this season. I think he's the top play here at 8,900 against the Diamondbacks team that's second worst by WRC Plus this season in pitcher-friendly Oracle Park. I couldn't like this more. What Webb has done this season is genuinely unprecedented. There's only 26 pitchers since ground ball rate started being tracked in 2002 who have thrown as many innings as he has and has a ground ball rate higher than his mark of 61.3%. And basically all of them are guys who don't get any strikeouts. They stay in the league just by having an elite ground ball rate. Nobody can match his 26.2% strikeout rate among that group. And only two pitchers come within 3 percentage points. One of those is Dallas Keuchel in his Cy Young season in 2015. So we're basically seeing Cy Young, Dallas Keuchel plus more strikeouts. I couldn't like this guy anymore. Couldn't like the situation anymore. I think he's the clear top play. I would pay up for him easily at $1,000 more than he is.
All right, 13 games here, Nick. Who was your favorite pitcher in DFS?
As much as I like Zach Wheeler tonight, and I think Walker Buehler's a guy you should get exposure to as well, I'm actually in lockstep with Erik on this one. I think Logan Webb is the guy tonight going up against the Diamondbacks at 8.9K. Just a couple things that he didn't highlight because he broke it down beautifully. But when you look at the Diamondbacks, they have the 9th highest K rate against right-handed pitching this month. And then when you look at their OPS, ISO, WOBA, WRC plus against right-handed pitching in September, they're bottom 6 in each of those categories. In few of those cases, much worse. And then with Logan Webb, I mean, this is a guy that's got double-digit strikeout potential. I know he's done it a few times this season. He most recently did it against the Brewers at the start of the month. And that's a team that when you look at how they've done against right-handed pitching throughout September, not a lot of strikeouts. So he's doing it against a team that doesn't strike out a ton against right-handed pitching, and now he's going up against one that does.
All right, Garion, how about you, man?
I mean, I would agree that Logan Webb is probably the top play on this slate. But just to give a different perspective on a different pitcher, let's talk about Chris Sale, because I think Sale's in a really unique spot tonight. Sale is, he's Chris Sale. We know he's an elite DFS option in a vacuum. However, there are obviously, a lot of circumstances surrounding Sale right now, not the least of which being we haven't really seen him fully unleashed by the Red Sox so far in 2021. He's yet to throw 100 pitches, and because of that, he's yet to exceed 25 DraftKings points in any of his 7 starts. However, this could possibly be Sale's last start of the regular season. The Red Sox need to win this game. I think if there's a chance that we see the full version of Chris Sale in 2021, it is tonight against the Orioles. And look, he's been pitching pretty well. His numbers say he should be pitching even better. I think his 13.1% swinging strike rate is a lot more indicative of his swing and miss stuff as opposed to a 26% strikeout rate that is nowhere near close to his career averages. His 84.3 mile per hour average exit velocity right now would be the best in baseball among starting pitchers had he the innings to qualify, but his BABIP is a little high. So his expected batting average well below his actual batting average right now. I think Sale probably gets some positive regression tonight, and Baltimore is also one of the best possible teams he could go up against. They have a 28.1% strikeout rate across the past 2 weeks. That is the second highest mark in all of baseball. So if we see 30 DraftKings point Chris Sale, it's got to be tonight. So I think you have to invest a little bit, especially considering this is the cheapest he's been all season.
Yeah, for sure. He's played in 7 games since returning from Tommy John surgery, and 2 of those wins have been against Baltimore. Favorite DFS hitter, though, Garion?
Let's go to Coors Field. Trevor Story is only $4,600 tonight. Patrick Corbin, I know he looked good in his last outing, but that's the first time he's looked good all season long. Patrick Corbin in the altitude should be a very, very worrisome thing for the Washington Nationals, and I think that there's a lot of bats in this Rockies lineup that can take advantage of this situation, specifically Story, who is only $4,600, is having a pretty bad season by his standards, has not been taking advantage of Coors Field like he has in the past. However, since the beginning of August, he's actually started to turn his season around against left-handed pitching. He's got a .341 batting average and an OPS above 1.1 within that span of time against southpaw pitchers. So considering Patrick Corbin's given up 2.42 home runs per 9 to right-handed batters so far this season, I think Story can really showcase the improvements he's made the past 2 months in this specific spot.
Nick, who's your favorite DFS hitter on tonight's 13-game slate?
I swear I'm not trying to copy these guys left and right, but Trevor Story is the guy at 4.6K at Coors. Just looking at that tonight, I mean, Patrick Corbin's a guy that we've liked to target throughout the majority of this season. And then when you look at Trevor Story, he has limited career numbers against him, but he does have 2 home runs. And actually, the last time Trevor Story hit a home run was on September 18th, and that was off of Patrick Corbin, and it was not at Coors Field, so I feel like that's going to help him a little bit more. And he has a few other extra base hits, too, against Corbin throughout his limited career ABs. And Garion kind of highlighted already, he's much better against left-handed pitching this season. On the whole, with his improvements that he's made recently, he's raised that mark up to his OPS up to 932. So this is a guy who, when you're going up against Corbin, you got to find a way to get some exposure to that, and Story's the way I'm going to do it tonight. Okay,
Erik, who's your favorite DFS hitter?
I'm going to go with Byron Buxton here at 4,700. That's the tied for the 17th highest price among outfielders on this slate, yet he's scored the 5th most points per game among outfielders this season. So sometimes it's not all that complicated. Obviously, Buxton's season has been a bit complicated. He was incredibly good to start the season and then injured however many times. That's probably injury about 3,000 for him in his career. It took a bit to get going in his return since the most recent injury, which was a broken hand. But over his last 20 games, hitting 273, slugging 581 with 6 homers. Also has a 17.9% barrel rate over that stretch, which would rank 5th among qualified hitters, right between Bryce Harper and Aaron Judge, if that was his mark for the full season. And really, that's actually not much better than his full season mark. He's at 16.9% for the full year, which would rank 10th in the league. So he's absolutely crushing the ball. He's an inner circle level hitter, I think, whenever he's on the field, and he's on the field now. So I think that's a guy who should cost closer to 5,500 or so, especially against Tyler Alexander. He'll get the platoon advantage against the lefty. Alexander has a 4.10 ERA in a swingman role, with most of the ERA estimators coming in a bit higher than that. He's the exact sort of pitcher I want to pick on in daily fantasy. The only thing he does well is avoid walks, but he doesn't strike guys out, just a 19% strikeout rate. Doesn't keep the ball on the ground either, just 36.7% ground ball rate. So perfect matchup for a guy who's pretty hot right now and really has been excellent almost whenever he's been on the field this season.
All right, let's poke over to the DK Sportsbook here as we are on third base. We're at the hot corner. Favorite run line or money line bet, Nick?
I'm going to go with the Blue Jays money line tonight. I know they're going up against the Yankees, and they just had their way with the Red Sox. And I also know that the Blue Jays have not really come through down the stretch as they're trying to fight for that postseason position. But I don't like Jameson Taillon. I know that he did a little bit better throughout, August and July, but then, of course, he goes to the IL. And the last team that he saw was the Blue Jays. Now, he only gave up 3 runs over 7 innings, which by anybody's standards, that's not bad, but certainly for him. But I like Ryu against the Yankees tonight. He's done very well against them. I know that he's had 2 brutal starts this month, but his one really good start came up against the Yankees. And then when you boil it down to your bullpens too, because of course that's a factor in it, I don't really like much of either of them right now, but I think that Taillon is going to be the difference tonight because he has struggled so much throughout the course of the season. And I don't like I don't like him up against the Yankees. They've done well against them.
All right, talk to me, Garion.
I'm going to take the exact opposite side of that game, as much as it pains me.
Wow.
I think a lot of what Nick said was accurate, but in saying all that, with the non-trustworthiness of both starting pitchers, I think you just have to take the plus money here. I mean, the Yankees' money line is plus 110. Maybe Taillon hasn't looked amazing since coming off the IL and in the month of September in general, but Nick mentioned that Hyunjin Ryu has had 1 good start in his past 5 starts, and that was 6 scoreless innings against the Yankees. Even with those 6 scoreless innings, his ERA within that span of time is 10.07. He's giving up a 420 WOBA to opponents in that 5-start stretch. And I could even take it back to 7 starts because he gave up 7 earned runs in his 7th most recent outing. I just don't trust Ryu right now. He's coming off the IL for what could be generously described as take a week off and maybe find something down the stretch. The Jays are going to pull him early if they have to, and that probably means Ross Stripling is pitching in this game. I don't like either of those two options against the New York Yankees. Yankees are 6-0 in their past 6 games. They are 5-0 their past 5 games against a left-handed starter on the road, and they are 6-2 in their last 8 games as an underdog. I like the Yankees on the money line tonight.
Okay, Erik, favorite run line or money line bet?
Yeah, I think it takes a ton for a team to be justifiably underdogs with a Cy Young contender on the mound. And I don't think that applies to the Phillies-Braves game. The Phillies are at plus 105 with Zach Wheeler going today. And I know that's only a small underdog, but I'm not really sure why they should be underdogs at all. If you look at the two lineups, they're both middle of the pack, completely fine, unremarkable lineups. In September, the Phillies ranked 17th by WRC+, the Braves ranked 15th. So more or less a push there. I guess you could say that alone would be justifying a 105, plus 105 for the Phillies. But again, Zach Wheeler, as good as Charlie Morton is on the other side, Wheeler has been better. 2.79 ERA on the season looks fully deserved. He's up at 29.2% for his strikeout rate while walking just 5.5% of opposing batters. Had a rough stretch to end August, ERA of about 6.5 over his last 4 starts. But in September, he's been incredible. 1.14 ERA for the month. Got that strikeout rate up over 33%. Charlie Morton, on the other hand, he's been very good too. A 3.53 ERA, absolutely nothing wrong with that, and that looks fully deserved. Just slightly worse than Wheeler across the board, and has been worse in September. A 3.60 ERA for the month, but that strikeout rate's actually fallen all the way down to 22% in 4 September starts. So to me, this looks like a game in which the Phillies should be slight favorites and they're slight underdogs. So I think that's a pretty clear top choice of the slate for me.
All right, last one here, guys. Take us home. Need you to speed it up just a little bit. Nick, hook me up with your favorite game total.
Oh, you guys know I always cheat when it comes to the game totals.
Yeah.
I'm going to do first 5 innings, Orioles under 1.5 runs. Garion was making some great points with Chris Sale. I know he can usually be a little bit tougher from a DFS perspective this season, but in general, he's been locked down. The only way that the Orioles are scoring runs against him are on home runs. I know Austin Hayes, a little bit of a concern there because he's got 2 against him, 1 in each start, and then Mancini has 1 too. But still, Sale's been locked down outside of that. He's had 1 hiccup so far this season, so I trust that he's going to hold the Orioles down.
All right, Garion, how about you?
I'll take the over in the Tampa-Houston game. It's 9 runs right now. Tampa and Houston both have top 5 offenses in September by WRC+, and both of these starting pitchers are underwhelming to say the least. Waka has just been bad since the beginning of August. Jose Urquidy, 9 earned runs in the 18 2/3 innings he's thrown since coming off the IL. I think we get there pretty easily.
Erik?
Taking the over 8 runs in the Oakland-Seattle game, mostly because of questions about both starting pitchers. Teams are averaging just shy of 9 runs combined this season, so they need to score 2 fewer than normal, and I don't think they're going to do that. It's not that the pitchers are bad, but Chris Bassett is just in his second start coming back from facial fractures, threw 48 pitches his first start back. He did look good, but again, I don't think we can expect much more than 60, 65 pitches, about 4 innings from him. So anytime you're getting 5 innings off of relievers, that's probably going to inflate the run total if knowing the guys who are going to get in there in the 5th inning or so. On the other side, it looks like it's going to be Tyler Anderson on just 2 days rest. He's coming back on 2 days rest because he didn't pitch very long in his last game. Only lasted 2 innings on Saturday against a pretty unimpressive Angels lineup who scored 9 runs off of him. And he really has not been all that good since joining the Mariners. 4.66 ERA for the team. So I don't think this is going to be a particularly low-scoring game given those pitching questions here.